If you're thinking about moving to Beaverton, Oregon, you have to check out this neighborhood. If you're watching this video, Beaverton is likely on your list. And not everybody knows that Beaverton has a ton of neighborhoods, over a dozen neighborhoods. It is over 20 square miles. It's a huge suburb with different types and styles of homes and neighborhoods. And where you end up in Beaverton makes a huge difference. Now, we're going to talk about Five Oaks, a neighborhood in Beaverton that not a lot of people know about, and we're going to talk about why that is and why it just might be the best neighborhood in Beaverton. All that starts now. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Paul Clem with the Oregon Relocation Team coming to you from Portland, Oregon. And in this video, we're looking at one of the top, if not the top neighborhood in Beaverton. I'm going to tell you why that is. I'm going to tell you why not a lot of people know about it and why it's an area that really, if you're thinking about moving to Beaverton, you should be considering. Now, I will start out by saying that Beaverton itself is a suburb of Portland. You can get different types of living in Beaverton. You can get dense, almost urban feeling living, in particular in central Beaverton, around downtown Beaverton. You can get that same type of feel in areas like Bethany and Cedar Mill, townhomes, condos, Progress Ridge, Murray Hill on the south side of Beaverton, although those areas on the north and south side by and large are very suburban. And so point being is, when you think suburb, I think that invokes a certain stereotype. I think for a lot of people, there is a certain type and style of environment that people are envisioning when you think suburb. But again, Beaverton has a wide range, a vast array of offerings. But you know that vision that you get, what you see in your head when you hear suburb. Well, Five Oaks in Beaverton is going to match exactly that. And probably, if that is what you are looking for, going to be a really, really good option for you. So, and hey, by the way, if this is your first time to our channel or you've been here and you haven't already and you want to get more videos like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button, tap that little bell to get notified every time we drop a new video. Okay, I'm not going to waste a ton of time telling you about Beaverton as a whole. If you're watching this video, you probably have some familiarity with where Beaverton is and in relation to Portland and generally what Beaverton has to offer. But if you do want to learn more about Beaverton specifically, if you want a quick rundown on every neighborhood in Beaverton, check out this video right here. That's going to tell you more about Five Oaks, the one we're talking about in this video, and also every other neighborhood in Beaverton, more of a compare and contrast style. It's a pretty long video, but it's kind of a quick snapshot of each. So check that out if you want to learn more about Beaverton as a whole. And if you are thinking about moving to the Portland metro area and you have an interest in Beaverton or areas that are like Beaverton, and if you want to learn more, if you want to talk about your move, your timeline, a budget, what these different neighborhoods and areas have to offer. If you want to dig into any of that, give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, or click the link down below in the description of the video. Schedule a Zoom call with us and we can talk all about it. All right, we're going to take a look at a map here in a second. But again, if you aren't necessarily looking for a quiet, private, clean, safe suburb with big, beautiful homes and walking trails and sidewalks and cul-de-sacs and all the other things that you might envision when you think of suburban living, this area and ultimately this video might not be for you. So we have a lot of other videos on areas that are completely different, than the suburbia style living. But if that is what you're looking for, let's go check it out. Okie dokie. Welcome to the handy dandy Google Map view. So I have Five Oaks, the neighborhood we're talking about, highlighted here. Now, if we zoom out a little bit, this whole area here that I'm circling is basically Beaverton. So just inside or east of 217 is where the county line is, Multnomah County over in Washington County, where Beaverton is. So some of this is unincorporated, but these are Beaverton schools. If you live in Garden Home, Raleigh Hills, West Slope, up to West Haven, into Cedar Mill, even Bethany, it's going to be Beaverton schools. This whole corridor from this 217 corridor all the way up north of Highway 26, again, it's Beaverton schools. Beaverton city limits is going to be more confined here to this where you see Beaverton on the map, central Beaverton, and its surrounding areas. But even Aloha, it's an unincorporated community, but Aloha in and of itself is a big suburb in Portland, but part of the Beaverton School District as well. But all the way down to Sexton Mountain, you can see South Beaverton here, neighbor Southwest, South Cooper Mountain. These are all Beaverton as well. So again, it's maybe hard to get a true sense of the scale of this just looking at a map, but I mean, most of the west side, due west of Portland is Beaverton here. And then Hillsborough is pretty big too. Actually, Hillsborough is about the same size technically as Beaverton, but again, Beaverton schools, you have this whole west side here, and then, Tigard, Tualatin, Sherwood, Wilsonville down here to the south. But don't let me go too far off on a tangent here. We're talking about Beaverton, obviously. Just want to give you some context in terms of where Beaverton is and where Five Oaks is specifically in Beaverton. So Five Oaks, in and of itself, not the biggest neighborhood in Beaverton, and more specifically in Five Oaks, I want to talk about Waterhouse. So Waterhouse is this big HOA community that is really what I'm going to be talking about in this video, and really what makes Five Oaks so great. There's a small HOA south of Walker Road here, and you can see there's some residential area, or most of this, south part of the neighborhood is residential. There's South Waterhouse, or Waterhouse South is down here, but I think that's only about 15 homes. Some nice neighborhoods, or some nice areas down in here. Specifically, though, I'm talking about Waterhouse, and this is a community of about 300 homes. I think that information or that exact number wasn't exactly handy, but it's about 300 homes. You have this power line park going right through the middle. So again, don't want to go too far off on a tangent here, but if you see this line going down from north to south here, there's power lines that go through here, but there's walking trails as well. So, the power lines aren't too much of an eyesore. It's nice to have that right in the middle of the neighborhood to be able to get out and walk around. And here I can show you what this looks like here, right in the middle of Waterhouse. I mean, they're there, obviously, right? But you have this trail that goes through, and, pretty big horizon looking in either direction. Um, so nice and open, and you have the big open field. So bring a dog. The kids can run around. It's a great place to bike or go for a jog. And I have some driving footage here, but give you a little bit of a sense of some of what the neighborhood is going to look like. Tree-lined streets, nice wide streets, sidewalks. There's a lot to like. So this Waterhouse neighborhood in Five Oaks, or Five Oaks altogether, is really overshadowed by a lot of neighborhoods in Beaverton that are Beaverton proper, and some of the unincorporated communities that are basically considered to be Beaverton as well. You've probably heard about Bethany. You may have heard about Cedar Mill. Incredible areas. Cedar Hills is great. The big shopping center is here. But you can see if you're in Waterhouse and Five Oaks, you have very quick access over to Cedar Hills, where you have some great restaurants and Salt and Straw ice cream and Kingpins, the Family Fun Center. That's all there. Nike World headquarters is right here. So Waterhouse and Five Oaks is still pretty centrally located. You're a little bit further west, maybe, than some of the kind of nearer Portland neighborhoods in Beaverton, but you are right on Highway 26. So Highway 26 will go. Oh, these little things keep popping up. Sorry. Um, Highway 26 will go all the way out west to the Oregon coast, or of course, you can take 26 up and over the West Hills into the city, into Portland. So traffic can get bad, don't get me wrong, but in terms of proximity to the city and getting downtown Portland and going to see shows and going to restaurants, breweries, all the great things in Portland, Blazer games, etc. Very quick and easy access to Portland. no more than 20 minutes without traffic. Obviously, traffic can add a little bit, but location wise, it's again, it's really pretty centrally located and quite convenient. Whether you are getting into Portland, whether you're getting to some of the cool stuff in Cedar Hills, downtown Beaverton is really up and coming, and I think really established itself now as this really cool little entertainment spot on the west side of the metro area. Very, very popular place to go out on the weekends. I mean, very family friendly. You can, bring your kids, but there's breweries and great restaurants and things like that. So that's right there in downtown Beaverton. Or if you're here in Five Oaks, Waterhouse, you can get out to Hillsborough as well. So be it downtown Hillsborough, which is this cool old town, or if you're getting out to this Silicon Forest area where you have a lot of tech jobs and obviously Intel, although Intel just went through a massive layoff. So, but they have like 4 or 5 campuses in the area. But there's a lot of different, tech jobs, hardware, software in this whole corridor, this tech corridor or Silicon Forest. You'll see it kind of referred to by different names, but I think not a lot of people are going to know about Waterhouse in particular. Five Oaks is not a name or a neighborhood that you hear very often. Five Oaks just kind of gets buried and overshadowed by some other really, really great areas. So not only is the intention of this video to put Waterhouse in particular on people's radar, but also highlight why Waterhouse is as good as, or maybe by some measures better than a lot of these areas that tend to overshadow it. So from a bird's eye view, you can see kind of, the winding streets. It's not just laid out on a grid. Not a ton of elevation change here, but kind of rolling hills a little bit, and then you see all these cul-de-sacs, which again is just if you're looking for the idyllic suburban style neighborhood, this is going to be as good as it gets for sure in Beaverton and really in all of the Portland metro area. So we talked about some of the amenities or walking trails, at least, that you get in the area, like along this Waterhouse Trail right here. You also have little Waterhouse Lake. You can walk around there. So that's nice to have. And we talk about the proximity to Portland and Hillsborough, the tech corridor, downtown Beaverton, Cedar Hills. I mean, there's so much there at your doorstep, and less from an entertainment point of view and more from just kind of a practical point of view. If we're talking about things that you're going to need, in your day to day, be it schools, be it groceries, or doctors, or things like that. I mean, this is as convenient as a location as you could be in terms of having, again, grocery stores and anything else that you would really need. Another thing to highlight too is Tualatin Hills Parks and Rec Department, THPRD, has a ton of really great parks and rec centers as well. In particular, you have the Tualatin Hills Rec Center here. You have this huge complex, sports fields. There's a skate park here. You have the aquatic center, pickleball courts and tennis courts. And so this is all right here on your doorstep. Right here, just on the south side of the neighborhood, too, Fred Meyer, which is, if you're not from around here, this is the local Kroger chain. This is your one-stop shopping. They've got all your groceries, and it's a pretty popular kind of middle-of-the-road grocery store. I think a lot of people, most people I know, shop at Fred Meyer for most things, but they also have like clothes and they have toys, and so it's really kind of a big box store. And again, I mean, has most of what you would need day to day. And if you're living in Waterhouse, you could walk down to this Fred Meyer along Walker Road right here. You have this Nike campus, which is kind of cool to see from an aerial view. So, I mean, this is an enormous piece of land where Nike World Headquarters is. But along this Walker corridor here, you have like fast food, you have some local restaurants, things like that too. But I mean, you don't have to go very far to at least be able to go out to eat or go get some food from time to time. But, I would say for some of the best offerings for food in particular, you're probably not staying local in Five Oaks. all that often. Again, you're probably going to be getting down to downtown Beaverton quite a bit. Great food carts, and again, a lot of great, more like kind of local restaurants in downtown Beaverton. Cedar Hills, same here. A lot of great offerings here in Cedar Hills in the shopping center. And you can, I mean, you can see the magnitude of it. This is a huge area with a ton to offer. And all of this is really right at your doorstep living in Waterhouse. You also have up in Cedar Mill, in your Sunset High School, this area just north of Highway 26, there's restaurants and shopping and grocery stores in here as well. Now, speaking of high schools, if you live in Five Oaks, you're going, or rather, if you live in Waterhouse in Five Oaks, you're going to be feeding into Westview High School. And Westview High School is up here on 185th, so not too far. Now, Beaverton School District recently redrew the lines for high schools because there's a new high school in Beaverton all the way down here, South Cooper Mountain area, Mountainside High School. And this is, I mean, it's a beautiful campus. I mean, it's definitely one of the most like stunning sights uh, if you're just like driving around and all of a sudden you see this big high school. Mountainside High School is definitely amongst the nicest, maybe the nicest in the Portland metro area. Sherwood High School is brand new as well, and that's a beautiful campus, but super nice. This Mountainside High School, kind of another world down there in this South Cooper Mountain, neighbor Southwest area. Than being up here in Five Oaks in Waterhouse. But the point being is when they redrew the lines for what high schools are being fed into, from this Five Oaks area. I mean, it got redrawn district wide, but this whole area did feed into Westview before they redrew the line. When they redrew the line, they're going to have this whole Five Oaks area, including Waterhouse, feed into Aloha High School, which is out west here in Aloha, somewhere down here. Yeah, there it is. And there was a little bit of an uproar. Now, I can't really speak to school ratings or school quality or guide people or steer people in one direction or another. But anecdotally, talking to people who live in Waterhouse and raised their kids there or had kids there when they redrew the lines, which was just a couple of years ago, they threw a little bit of a fit, and they were able to maintain that north of Walker Road here in Five Oaks, which is primarily going to be this Waterhouse neighborhood, is still feeding into Westview High School up here. And the south half of the neighborhood, south of Walker Road, is feeding into Aloha High School now. Now, again, I'm not here to make any judgments or really any comments whatsoever about whether Westview is a superior high school or if Aloha is a inferior high school or anything like that. But that is the way that played out nonetheless. So the point being is if you're in Waterhouse here, you are going to be feeding into Westview High School with the newly redrawn district lines. Okay, so if Waterhouse sounds interesting and this is an area that you could see yourself living based on what you've heard, what are you going to get there as far as homes, as far as cost, and as far as the style, the size, etc.? Well, this was a community that was developed over the 90s. 90s construction has a very distinct style, primarily a traditional style as far as floor plans and layouts. So you have a lot of formal living rooms, formal dining rooms, and then kind of a family room that's open to the kitchen area. Usually at the back of the house, you typically have a staircase right in the middle of the house, and then your bedrooms upstairs, maybe a den or office. In fact, in most of these houses, you'll have a den or an office on the main level as well. You do get slightly larger lots in Waterhouse than you get in a lot of 90s developed areas, in particular 90s developed areas in Cedar Mill and Bethany and Northwest Heights, Forest Heights, these areas up here. So the newer the houses, the smaller the lot sizes, generally as a rule of thumb. And around the 90s, you were still getting a yard. But in general and on average, I think you're seeing in Waterhouse slightly larger lots or more usable space because it is a little more flat than a lot of these areas, especially up in the hills, where you might have a fifth of an acre, point 2 acre lot up in the hills, but some of it's sloped. You can't really use it. It's like terraced. You don't really get that in Waterhouse in Five Oaks. You get a lot of nice flat usable yard in this area. So in terms of the type and style of home, again, it's pretty consistent with a lot of other neighborhoods in a lot of other Portland suburbs, but it's just has a little bit more of kind of a but it has just a little bit more of an upscale luxury feel to it. No two houses really look the same, which I think a lot of people really appreciate, and that's certainly not as much the case in developments that you see today, newer construction today, or at least in the last, 10 or 15 years. So there's certainly some character there. These homes have been around long enough to where these tree-lined streets are, and the landscaping overall is more mature. So, there's more vegetation, it's more filled in. It looks very and feels very well established in that way. All right, and we can take a look at some examples even on our Zillow cheat sheet here. So zooming into Waterhouse, 600K, that ought to be something a little newer. Yeah, more of kind of a newer townhouse style. This right here isn't typical. I'm just if you like the area and are looking for something a little bit more like this, I guess there are some options. But otherwise, 750, 875, that's going to be pretty low priced for this area. You can see why. Okay. 3-car garage, 2,400 square feet though. These homes are typically going to be 3,000 square feet plus. 3-car garages too is going to be more the norm. As I pull up a house with a 2-car garage, it may have a third bay. I don't know, but a 3-car garage is going to be more typical. But 1,000,001 is probably more what you would expect for the typical house. And this one even cut their price at least once. 45K most recently. Um, but this is a pretty good example of what you're going to get in Waterhouse. Again, staircase right in the middle of the home, formal living room, formal dining, open, kind of an open concept at the back of the house with the kitchen, a little dining, breakfast nook, alcove area, and then open, the kitchen opens to a living room, or rather a family room. Usually that's the TV room, a den, an office on the main level, a nice big primary bath. Because these homes were built in the 90s, you'll see varying degrees of remodeling that's been done. Uh, Sometimes you'll get into a house that's been totally head to toe remodeled in the last 5 or 10 years. That's probably certainly going to command a premium if you are getting something that is completely turnkey in terms of the updates that you would have wanted done being done already. Otherwise, this million, maybe 950 to 115, something like that, is probably more common, and you're probably going to see some original elements, or at least some remodeled stuff that's taken place maybe in the last 15 or 20 years, but maybe not quite in the last 5 or 10 years. A lot of hardwood floors, these oak hardwood floors. That's going to be typical in all of these homes. And you see like the granite tiles on the countertop here. I mean, that's definitely a little dated, but I think what you'll find is a pride of ownership in this neighborhood. You'll find that a lot of these homes are very well maintained and cared for. People have been good stewards. You see the freestanding tub, so that's a more recent update. This master bath, primary bath was redone, definitely more recently than say like the kitchen is what I'm seeing, for example. But yeah, pretty typical here. And here's a good example of the type of yard that you can get as well. Not enormous, And these are big homes, so they have a big footprint as it is. So still a pretty decent lot size to be able to get a good usable yard. It's manageable. It's not a big, it's not a big yard by any means, but it's kind of everything you could ask for as far as enough space to move around, but not necessarily something that's going to take a ton of maintenance all the time and, command your attention, like being on a third of an acre or a half an acre, for example. So if Waterhouse, this Five Oaks area in Beaverton, is an area that sounds interesting to you, and if you want to learn more about what it's like living there, or if you want to learn more about, any number of other neighborhoods that have a similar feel, similar styles of homes, similar price points, there's a lot of them out there in the Portland metro area. And if you want to talk about an upcoming move, your budget, your timeline, how we can make everything work, give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, or click the link down below in the description of the video. Schedule a Zoom call with us. We can talk all about it. If this video is helpful, make sure to hit the like button. That helps us out a lot. If you want to get more videos like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the little bell to get notified every time we drop a new video. As always, we really appreciate you watching. And until next time, we'll talk to you later.